You walk into a room, and before you even sit down, your brain has already done a full scan. You can feel who's tense, who's annoyed, who's unusually quiet, who's giving off that something's wrong signal. If someone's mood dips, your body tightens like it's your problem to solve. You crack a joke, change the subject. Apologize for things that aren't your fault, anything to pull the energy back up. At work, if your boss looks stressed, you feel it in your chest. At home, if one person is upset, it's like the whole air changes in without even thinking. You slip into fixing, soothing, pleasing. You rarely stop to ask, how do I feel? Because your attention is glued to everyone else's emotional weather. In quiet moments, you think, why do I feel responsible for everyone's mood? Why can't I just let people feel what they feel? If you feel like it's your unspoken job to keep everyone okay. What psychology says about people like you is something most of us are never told. It might completely change how you see this exhausting side of yourself. After a while, people start commenting on this part of you. You're too sensitive. Stop taking everything so personally. It's not your job to fix everyone. Maybe they roll their eyes when you jump in to smooth over an argument or check in with the quiet one in the corner. Here you go again, trying to make sure everyone's okay. They say it like it's a cute quirk or an annoyance. Inside, it doesn't feel cute. Part of you genuinely believes if I don't hold this together, everything might fall apart. Another part is exhausted and whispers, why can't I just relax? Why do I feel guilty if anyone around me is upset? You notice that other people can shrug and think they're in a bad mood. Whatever you feel, a quiet sense of failure, like you didn't do your job. Most people like you stop here and decide they're just overly emotional or people pleasers. But that's only because nobody ever explained what your nervous system went through and the kind of house you grew up in. What almost no one tells you is that you didn't wake up one day and randomly decide to be the mood manager. If you feel responsible for everyone's emotions, there's a good chance you grew up in emotional chaos. In a lot of families, the adults are unpredictably one moment, withdrawn the next, explosive over nothing, or completely checked out. In that kind of environment, some kids become the emotional regulators of the house, your nervous system quietly. Learned, if I can keep everyone calm, maybe we'll be safe. So you became the early warning system and the peacekeeper. You watched faces, tones, footsteps, silences. You adjusted yourself so storms would hit softer or not at all. That wasn't overcaring. That was survival. And your body never got the memo that the emergency ended. In the next part, we'll break down exactly how that chaos training shows up now as hypervigilance, how fawning and blurry boundaries between your feelings and everyone else's. And why understanding that might be the first step to finally putting this impossible job down. To see how deep this goes, you have to look at what your nervous system was trained to do. First, there's hypervigilance. In a chaotic house, tiny shifts could mean a storm was coming, a slammed cupboard, a certain sigh, a door closing too hard. Your body learned to scan constantly. Is dad in a mood? Is mom about to cry? Is today safe?
Radar kept you safer then?
Now, it's still running, except the room is your office, your friend group, your relationship. You walk in, and before you even know what you feel, you've already checked everyone else. Then there's fawning, a survival response most people never talk about. When you couldn't fight or run, you learned to appease. You became the one who smoothed things over, made jokes, stayed agreeable, took the blame, or shrank your own needs to keep someone else from tipping over. As an adult, that shows up as over-apologizing, over-explaining, over-comforting anything to keep the emotional waters flat. Finally, there's boundary confusion. If you grew up in a place where your feelings didn't matter unless everyone else was okay, your system never learned where you end and others begin. Someone else's bad mood still feels like a personal emergency. You don't just notice it. You absorb it. Their anger equals I did something wrong. Their sadness equals I have to fix this. Most people just see you caring too much. They don't see the child whose body decided a long time ago that managing everyone's emotional weather was the only way to stay even a little bit safe. The next question is, what happens when that skill that saved you starts slowly erasing you? Here's where it gets uncomfortable and important. Your emotional radar is a real gift. It made you the one people could lean on, the one who sensed hurt before it exploded, the one who could read a room better than any adult around you. But when that same radar is still running on survival settings, it can quietly turn into self-erasure. You override your own needs. To keep everyone calm, you stay in draining conversations because walking away feels like abandoning someone. You feel guilty for being okay when someone else isn't, so you dim your joy to match their pain. On the outside, it looks like being endlessly caring. On the inside, it can feel like slowly disappearing. If this felt like someone just described the part of you that's always scanning and soothing, you're not alone and you're not broken for becoming that person in a chaotic house. Subscribe and stay close if you want more videos that speak to people who grew up in survival mode. And tell me in the comments what you usually do when someone's mood shifts in the room, because next, we're going even deeper into how to keep your empathy without carrying everyone's emotional weather on your back.